everybody. My name is Mars. You can call me MG if you would like, and welcome to a new reading vlog. First order of business, ignore my wet hair. I literally just got out of the shower like 10 minutes ago, and I was like, you know what? I gotta start this vlog. I'm just gonna do it. So that's why I'm here with wet hair. Second of all, I am filming this mid-February, but you're not going to see it until early March because that's just how video scheduling works. I had other stuff that I had to get in before this video, so it's not really timely for you guys, but it's timely for me when I'm reading these books. And that is because I am reading romance books for Valentine's Day, which was a few days ago. It is the 17th right now. And not only am I reading romance books, but I am pushing myself out of my comfort zone with the books that I have chosen, because I'm not really a big romance reader. I read books with romance in them, and I love romance in books, but I don't really read things that are specifically romance books. And so I have 3 here that I'll be reading for this vlog. I don't own any of them physically, so I can't hold them up, so that's a little bit of a bummer. I love holding up books in vlogs. It just makes it feel more official, I guess. But yeah, I've picked out 3 books with some help from other people, and they are all different what's the word, subgenres of romance, and we are going from what I think would be the easiest to get into to the one that scares me the most. So why don't I just tell you about the books? So the first book that I will be reading starting today is By a Thread by Lucy Score. I've never read any Lucy Score, but I know that she's super popular here on BookTube, and this was actually recommended to me by my friend Emily, who is a huge romance reader, and I was like, hey, pick out a book for me to read for this vlog, and she gave me a couple of options, and this is the one that I've gone for. And I think this is going to be the easiest to break into because it is contemporary, which I don't read a ton of contemporary. My biggest genre is definitely fantasy, but I have read like some contemporary mysteries and stuff, so like it's fine. It's a good genre. But this is Grumpy Sunshine, but it's also a boss romance. So I read the blurb several weeks ago when I was deciding which of my friends' recommendations to pick, and I remember it being something like the male main character accidentally gets the female main character fired, and he feels bad about it, so he gives her a job at his company. Romance ensues, but he's her boss, I think. Something along those lines. So I don't even remember the characters' names, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. These are all spicy romances, by the way, which is definitely out of my comfort zone, but this is one that my friend Emily says is really good, and I'm looking forward to starting that later today. The next book that I will be reading is one that I'm actually cautiously optimistic about, and that is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon, the first in the Ice Planet Barbarians series, and I'm cautiously optimistic about this because it is sci-fi, and I love sci-fi, and this is a romance between a human woman and an ice planet barbarian. It's basically just a big blue alien dude. And I know like a couple of the content warnings revolving around this series, but other than that, I don't really know anything about the plot or anything else. What I do know is that the main character of this book is named Georgie, which, if you didn't know, is the main character's name in my book, Revelry in the Dark, that I published last year. You can actually see it right there on my shelf. And yeah, that's a really fun coincidence. So I'm looking forward to this one, but I'm also a little bit like, I know it's gonna be extremely smutty, and like I said, that's really the thing that's gonna put me the most out of my comfort zone with these books. But yeah, if I find that I do really end up loving the series, then that's going to be a whole thing to get into because there's so many books in the series. There's 2 spin-off series that also have a million books in them. So I could be getting myself into a lot here, but you know what? I'm looking forward to it. I hope that I really enjoy this book. And then the last book that I'll be reading is the one that genuinely scares me, and that is Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. And this is a romance between 2 serial killers. I know that like serial killer romance, mafia romance, and all that is huge, but I've never read anything like that. And this book scares me I have heard it's like, obviously it's dark because it's two serial killers falling in love, but it's also like dark comedy. So I'm hoping that comedy aspect is enough to keep me from, I don't know, freaking out. I don't know. I read a lot of dark books. I love horror. I love thrillers, but there's something about those aspects being in a romance book. I don't know, man. I'm extremely intimidated by this, which is why it's going to be the last book that I read for this vlog. But we'll get there. We're gonna ease into romance with the other two books, and then we'll get to Butcher and Blackbird. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm genuinely so scared of it. But I don't have to think about it for a little while because we're starting off with By a Thread, and I'm very optimistic about that one because it doesn't have any of the like worrisome elements for me besides just being super smutty. So yeah, I will get started on reading that today, and I will update you guys later on whenever I have something to update you on. Hello friends. It is still the 17th. It is currently 11:37 p.m. I should have been in bed already, but I have been reading all evening against my better judgment. I'm halfway through this book and I kind of hate it. Like, it's so bad. First of all, there's the writing style, which like it's not it's just such a weird choice. So the characters, the male love interest Dominic is 44, and our female like love interest main character Allie is 39, which I keep trying to like. Her name is Allie, but in my head I keep reading it as Ally because it's spelled Ally, Allie, and so they're like adults, like whole ass adults. Tell me why they act like teenagers. And it doesn't help that their like childish actions and ways of talking is emphasized by the like narrative style. It feels like, do you remember those books from like middle school, high school that were written as if it was like a diary? That's what this feels like. It's so juvenile. And it's such a bizarre choice to make for this novel. But like, I can't stop reading it for some reason. Like, it's so bad. And yet I'm halfway through. I read 37 chapters. They're short chapters, but like, still, I've read so much of it. And like, I'm probably gonna finish the rest just because I have to see how this train wreck of a book ends. I'm gonna be very spoilery with this because I just need to talk about it. Emily, I'm sorry if you're watching this that I'm hating this book that you recommended to me, but oh my god, what the fuck is this? So we have Allie. She is very poor. She works like 4 jobs because her dad is in hospice care and she has to pay the bills. And then we have Dominic, who is the son of this CEO for a major fashion magazine, and his father has recently been made to step down because he was sexually harassing the like some employees and like coercing them into relationships, and so Dominic has taken over as the head of creative design or something like that for the magazine, and he's been there just over a year. And he is constantly in his internal monologue being like, oh, I'm so terrible, I'm such an asshole. And like he is, but not for the reasons that he says. And also, like, people who are assholes don't constantly walk around thinking that to themselves. But that's besides the point. So him and his mom in the first chapter go to this pizza place. By the way, this book takes place in New York City, and like our main guy is named Dominic Russo, and I cannot stop reading this book with a very thick Italian American accent in my head. It's so bad, but like that's just how they sound to me because that's just what I've been given. Um yeah, so him and his mom go to get pizza, and he's completely awful to this waitress, and so the waitress spells out FU on his pizza and pepperoni, which, first of all, why is the waitress making the pizza? Plot hole. And then he, like, throws a fit over that and gets her fired, which, like, he shouldn't have been an asshole to her, and she shouldn't have been surprised when her actions got her fired. Like, okay. But then his mom ends up offering her a job at the uh, fashion magazine. So now she has a new job. And the two of them, Allie and Dominic, do not get along, but of course are instantly attracted to each other and constantly thinking about having sex. So there's a lot of back and forth at the office, and for the first, I'd say, like 30 chapters, it's a lot of the same, where Dominic is constantly like, oh, I'm so attracted to this woman, but I can't act on it because I don't want to be like my father. But then he's also like being really kind of a terrible person. Like, she lets slip that she finds vests to be attractive, and so he buys more and is always wearing them around her. And like, he finds out that she's going on a date, and so he shows up where her date is happening with someone who we later find out is his best friend's wife, who like just went along for it, I guess, to like trick Allie into thinking he was also on a date. Like, awful things like that. But then Allie is also so stupid because she keeps calling him Mr. Darcy because she's convinced that he's been like very upfront about the fact that he is extremely attracted to her but does not want to act on it. And she's like, oh, he doesn't want to act on it because I'm poor and he thinks I'm beneath him. But like, he has explicitly said he's never talked about like the specifics of what happened with his dad to her, but he has said, I don't want to be like my father, and there's a rule against fraternizing with like employees that are beneath you. And she knows about what happened with his father because her like friends at the office like explained it. So like, she should be able to put two and two together, I think, but she's very stupid and it's not happening. So then that's like the first 30 chapters. There's a bunch of that going back and forth. Then she I thought she just like went into his office when it was like unlocked or whatever and found him doing things while saying her name, and she got very in his face about it until he was like, listen, you have to leave because this is awful, like I can't be doing this. And she's like upset that he didn't want to do anything in the bathroom of his office. It's worse because it's not that he left the door open or anything. She went into his secretary's desk and got out the key because he had locked the office door behind him. So she was basically breaking and entering and like went on this. And he's the one who feels bad about that situation happening. What? Then Allie, like something messes up with her paycheck, and so she doesn't have the money to pay for her dad's care. And so if she doesn't have the money by like that day, I think it's like the next day after she finds out there's been an issue with her paycheck, he's going to get kicked out. And it's like, so how do I put this like tactfully? Her friend, who seen her say like several times that, oh, this person Faith is my best friend, she's so amazing. We never actually see her until almost halfway through the book, and she owns a strip club, and it's amateur night there, and Allie's like, I'm going to do this to get the money to pay for the bills. And it's from Allie's POV, it's very clear that she doesn't think anything bad of sex workers, and she understands that people do this sort of thing for all sorts of reasons. She personally does not want to do it, but she's going to because she needs the money. And her friend, first of all, like, encourages her to do this, but also they have a conversation where it's made clear that if Allie were to just ask for the money, her friend would give it to her, with like no questions asked. But then her friend knows how uncomfortable she is with the prospect of doing this and still like is pushing her to do it. And it's just a very weird chapter. And then Dominic shows up because he overheard the two of them on the phone, and they don't have sex, come very, very close. They do sexual things, and then he basically kidnaps her and brings her to his house because he's like, we're gonna fucking talk about this. And then they still don't say anything. Like, talk about your parents and the issues that you have going on regarding them, and like, talk about your feelings maybe, because it's clear that it's not just sexual attraction anymore. Like, they genuinely care about each other. And it's just so frustrating. Then she goes to pay for the her father's like care with the money she got, and the person behind the desk is like very rude about it, and like seems like she wants to get him kicked out for whatever reason, and she like won't accept the cash that Allie's trying to give her. And then she gets an email saying like, hey, we have this sudden temporary position opening up at the company for like a secretary. Do you want it? Oh, sorry, I'm hiccuping. I just chugged a bunch of water before doing this because I knew I'd be talking a lot. And she's like, yeah, I need the advance on it so I can pay this bill. So she signs up, and it's to be Dominic's secretary because his secretary is going on like a 2 month whatever. She's gonna be gone for a little bit, and so he like, the email doesn't say who it's going to be for, even though like he like specifically sent the email to her to like have her do this position. Like, there's so much manipulation, and like these characters are just garbage, and yet I can't stop reading this, so I'm going to finish it. I have to see what happens in this train wreck of a novel, so I'm probably gonna finish that tomorrow. I've now been ranting for so long. It is almost midnight and I need to sleep, so I'm going to go to bed, and I will update you guys tomorrow, assuming I finish it tomorrow, which I probably will. I don't have a ton going on. I don't have a ton going on ever, guys. You know the drill. But yeah, I will see you guys when I've finished this book, because oh my god, can I not stop talking about it even though I really, really don't like it. What a great start to this vlog, huh? Hello, friends. It is 1:17 p.m. on the 18th, and I am giving up on this book. Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad. I'm just in shock. It was like tolerable. I ended up reading the first half of By a Thread yesterday, and like, it was okay. Like, I didn't hate it, but I also wasn't enjoying it. This morning I picked it back up. I was doing some reading and writing, like alternating like I do, and I found myself kind of getting into it. Like, once the characters actually started talking to each other, it was pretty fun, because like, there are genuine things that are, well, that would be like keeping the two love interests from being able to be together. But instead, the entire first half of this book is so rife with miscommunication trope. Like, it's so annoying. And then they finally talked to each other and realized, like, hey, there are legitimate things that we need to be concerned about, but like, we still want to maybe pursue something here, and that's gonna be an issue. And I was just like, finally, good content. And then it just got bad again. And then I got to, like, so, I don't even want to talk about it. That's how awful this experience was. I got to the first real sex scene, and it was so weird. So I've talked about how Allie, her dad, is in hospice care and she needs to pay for it and everything. He has dementia, and he hits her at one point because he's in a rage. He's confused. Like, that's not uncommon for people with dementia to experience. and he hits her and she has to call out of work because her face is bruised, but she still decides to go into the office later on that evening and runs into Dominic and is surprised that she runs into Dominic when she goes to the office that they both work at. And he's like, "Who did this to you? I'm gonna kill him." And she's like, "You can't, it's my dad because he's sick." And then he starts calling her baby, which is disgusting. I can do pet names like honey, sweetheart, my love, any of that, perfectly fine. Baby is just no. Mm-mm. So she's like crying into his arms, and that's when he decides, like, it's okay to finally have sex. And it's in the office too, which is something that he said he would never do because it would make him too much like his dad and blah 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 blah. And like it's just so gross, the descriptions of the act, and like he's so weirdly possessive and awful to her. She explicitly says like, "I'm not looking for anything serious, like I don't want this to be like a thing now." Like she is attracted to him and does want to be with him, but she doesn't want it right then. And he's like, "No, if we have sex, then that means you're mine," and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Oh, it's so awful." But I'm like, maybe it's just because it's from his POV and he's just a terrible person. But then the next chapter was another sex scene, this time from Allie's POV. And it was just as weird and terrible, and I just like I can't do it anymore. So at 68%, which I admit is so close to being hilarious, um, I'm calling it quits on this. I can't do it anymore. I need to like take some time away from reading after this. I'm not gonna pick up Ice Planet Barbarians just yet. I will probably take the entire afternoon and evening and rest of today to just chill and do other things, and then I will start fresh tomorrow with Ice Planet Barbarians. And I'm really, really hoping it's better than this because this was so bad. Oh, jeez, I can't believe I made it that far. But yeah, I'm gonna take some time to chill, and I will see you guys tomorrow when I'm ready to actually pick up the next book. Hello, friends. It is 7:23 p.m. on the 19th, and I read Ice Planet Barbarians. I didn't update you because I just wanted to keep reading. I binged the whole book in about a couple of hours. I actually don't remember when I started reading it. So I don't know quite how long it took me, but like it was so quick. And oh my god, that was so good. I loved that. I didn't expect that, but this is exactly what I needed coming off of the DNF that I had yesterday. A nice, fun, quick book that I really loved. Like perfect. This was so good. I would give this an 8 out of 10, I'd say, because it's definitely not like a completely flawless book. There were things that I didn't really enjoy. For one, I'm not really a fan of the whole mates trope. I don't mind it in this book, but it's just not something that I'm a huge fan of. Um, Also, the like actual language of the book wasn't great. Like it was perfectly fine. There were just like a couple of instances where I'm like, that probably could have used a line edit, like a paragraph here and there. Like there was one time when they were talking about a certain part of the alien love interest, and the phrasing was, additionally, there was an additional blah 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 blah. And I'm like, why do you have additionally and additional in the same sentence? That's very redundant and dumb. And there were a handful of times where something like that happened, but like not enough to take me out of the story. It was just like something I noticed and then I moved on. So like it's not a 10 out of 10, but like 8 out of 10. And
I wouldn't be surprised if this book ended up on my favorites of the year, because even though I didn't give it like a perfect score, like I enjoyed that so much. Let me tell you, I'm very tempted to just keep going with the series and binge the next few, but I'm not going to because I have a vlog to continue. I know you guys probably wouldn't mind if I read the next like 3 or 4 and reported back, but I don't feel like doing that. I will continue on with my next read being Butcher and Blackbird, but just don't be surprised if I don't think I'm gonna read any more this month because I've got a couple of other things I want to read. But don't be surprised if my March wrap up rolls around and I've got books 2 through like 6 on there. This was just really good, and I know a couple of other people who either have plans to read it soon or have recently picked it up, and it's just so fun getting to talk to people about it. Um, yeah, this was so good. This was the best book that I could have picked up after DNFing by a thread. So I'm very glad that I picked it up. Yeah, I'm just really happy. And I'm gonna ride this book high for the rest of the evening. I'm gonna go watch some Critical Role, probably eat some ice cream, and just have a really nice rest of my day. And then tomorrow we're gonna pick up Butcher and Blackbird, which I'm very optimistic about after finishing this book that I really enjoyed. So here's hoping that Butcher and Blackbird goes more the way of Ice Planet Barbarians and not the way of By a Thread, but we will find out. Yeah, I will see you guys when I pick that book up because oh boy, do I think I'm gonna have some updates on that one, even though I kind of forgot to update you on this book. It's fine. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Hello, friends. I am chilling here in the bedroom, trying to be quiet so I don't wake up my cat. I don't know if I'll succeed. She's sleeping behind the door. It's very cute. Anyway, it is 1:30 p.m. on the 20th, and I am 10 chapters into Butcher and Blackbird, which is about 40% because there's 24 chapters and an epilogue. So, I thought I'd give you a little update because I forgot to give you an update during Ice Planet Barbarians. But I'm having a really good time with this. It's not like the best thing ever. I did almost give up after the first chapter because the first chapter, we meet our female main character. So this is serial killer romance. Ooh, Chloe is awake. She's approaching. Or is she gonna lay on the ground? I don't know. This is serial killer romance. The two main characters are serial killers who hunt other serial killers that actually do bad things. So, like, they're killers, but they're not necessarily terrible people. They're not great people either, but, yeah, our female main character, Sloane, and ended up, messing up on a job, and she killed her target, but also got locked in a cage with his dead body. For 3 days, and then she meets Rowan, who is our male main character. And let me just say, Sloane and Rowan are two of my favorite names. They're so good. And he was also hunting this guy, and he's like, "Fancy meeting you here." And they've like heard of each other's work because they're both prolific serial killers, and they like exchanged their serial killer names. This feels so weird to be talking about. Then Rowan lets Sloane out, and they start a friendship, and it's really cute. But I did almost skip after the first chapter because there's maggots, and I hate maggots. I hate bugs in general, but I'm usually fine with reading about them. But for some reason, you bring maggots into things, and I'm like, mm mm. But it was only for like a page, and then it moved on. So I'm like, okay. I was also very worried going into this because I read a lot of like gory things and like body horror and stuff. I really love that sort of stuff. But I don't like teeth like injuries and I don't like eye injuries. And the very first thing on the trigger warning list is eye stuff. And I was just like, okay, I don't know if I can do this, but okay. And it's on the warning list because Sloane's like MO is that she scoops people's eyes out and does things with them. Not like weird things, like artistic things. Which I guess it's kind of weird, but like she doesn't like do anything gross. Well, actually, I guess scooping out eyeballs is gross. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's not terrible. Ah, Chloe's approaching me. I apologize if she interrupts my rambling, but also you guys would love to see her, I know. Uh, so I was just very worried about that sort of thing, but hello, Chloe. It's never in any detail. Like we've seen, I'm like 40% through, and we've seen killings happen, and it's gross, but it's not like overdone, like glorifying the gore or anything. Ma'am, so it's fine, and we don't get like in-depth. Can you hear her purring? We don't get in-depth descriptions of the eye damage, which I appreciate. Chloe, please do not put your butthole in frame. So I'm glad for that, and like it's kind of silly with the language in the same way that Ice Planet Barbarians was, but like I liked Ice Planet Barbarians, and so I'm enjoying this one, and I'm very shocked about it. I think our characters are really cute and silly, and yeah, I'm just having fun. Ow, Chloe, why'd you bite me? Oh, creature. It was like a playful little bite, but still very rude. I guess I'll end this clip here and show my cat some affection that she's been missing. And I will update you guys later on when I've read more, maybe at the end of it. Oh, okay. Goodbye, friends. I will see you in a little while. Okay, it's only been a few minutes and I'm here with another update. I would like to correct myself. I said the gore hasn't been super gory so far, but I just read chapter 11, and oh boy, was that testing my limits. Got a little bit more eye stuff, but it was still fine. Oh my god, Chloe's here. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you that it does kind of get gross. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I'm gonna take a break from reading now, so I will see you at some point.
Guys, I'm actually scared. There are 4 more chapters. I just finished chapter 19, and there's 24. There's 5 more chapters in the epilogue left, but like chapter 19 ends on like a very satisfying emotional conclusion, and it could have been the end of the book. But there's 5 more chapters in the epilogue. Oh, I don't want anything to happen. I really like these characters. I'm definitely finishing this today. Who am I? 2 days in a row reading an entire book? Crazy. But yeah, it's like 6 something, so I've got plenty of time to read the last few chapters. I don't want them to get hurt more than they already have. They've been through so much. I'm so scared. Okay. I think the next time I see you is going to be when I finish the book, so I guess see you then.
Hello, friends. It is 7:45 p.m., and I am back once more to give you my final update because I finished reading Butcher and Blackbird. Holy cow! Like, it wasn't like a literary masterpiece or anything, but it was so much fun. And like, I can't remember. Like, I read a lot of fun books, but I can't remember the last time I read a book that was just fun. Like, it always has something else to it, something really hard hitting, which I appreciate. I love books that make me feel like deep emotions, but like Ice Planet Barbarians and now Butcher and Blackbird, they were just so much fun, and I had a great time reading them. 2 days in a row, I finished reading an entire book in the day. Like, am I in 8th grade again? I can't remember the last time I did that with something that wasn't manga. Like, it was just so much fun these past couple of days. We're ignoring By a Thread because that was not fun. But like, I just had a lovely couple of days reading some silly, fun, dumb books. Like, what? And I'm not saying like, if you enjoy these things, you're silly and dumb. Like, no. Like, it's just that they're more lighthearted, and it's just a really upbeat type of mood I'm in now because I've read them, and it's just so much fun. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now, But yeah, I had a pretty good time. I would say Butcher and Blackbird's like a 7 because I gave Ice Planet Barbarians an 8, and I definitely prefer that to Butcher and Blackbird. But like it was still a good time. I'm like 99% sure I'm going to continue on with this series because it's a trilogy where each book follows a different one of these three brothers. So in the first one, we follow Rowan and his love interest Sloane, who are both serial killers who kill other killers. And then the second book is called Leather and Lark, and it's coming out this summer, and it follows Lachlan, who is Rowan's older brother, and Lark is Sloane's best friend. And then the third book, I can't think of what it's called right now. I just looked at the Goodreads page too, but it follows. I pronounced it Finn. It's spelled Fionn, which I like thought was like Fion or something, but then I looked it up and Google said it's just pronounced Finn. I don't know. But he's the youngest brother of the three, and his love interest is he's not a serial killer, he's a doctor. And then his love interest is this woman who's a circus performer, motorcycle biker lady. I don't know. We met them in this book, and like I'm excited for the next two books if they're as fun as this one. The epilogue of Butcher and Blackbird leads into the primary antagonist of the second book, and like stuff's gonna go down, and I'm already excited. Ugh. Overall, I think this was a very successful experiment. I didn't like the first book I read, but then I really did like the other two, and I guess that just shows me my taste in romance is aliens or serial killers. I don't think that's correct. I think that's inferring a little too much from this experiment, but I think the biggest uh thing that it taught me is that the characters have to be likable because romances are such character driven books. Like they're not really plot driven the way like a high fantasy would be or a mystery is driven by that mystery, but romances at their core are about the characters more than anything. And the characters in By a Thread I just really did not like, but the characters in Ice Planet Barbarians and Butcher and Blackbird I loved. Like they were so fun. And like yeah, I think that's my biggest takeaway from this. And I got two new series to read. Well, technically more than two because Ice Planet Barbarians has two spin-offs and they're all super long. Well, actually, I think the one spin-off only has like one book out in it, but probably will be super long. My computer is telling me that it's time to wrap things up and I've been rambling too much. But yeah, that is the end of this vlog. Ugh, I wish you guys weren't seeing it so late because today's February 20th and I don't think this is coming out until March 8th because today's Tuesday. This upcoming Friday I have a video about my book that I published coming out, and then the following Friday is my wrap up and TBR, so then this is coming out the Friday after that. Wild. But yeah, I'm just gonna be thinking for the next several weeks about this video and the response to it because I want to know what people think about this. But that is all for me today. So if you've enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.